What's up, everybody? It's Stephen Pacheco, also known as Steph the Pharaoh. I'm here with Roman Ace Guillen. We're out here in Madera at Sandoval MMA, Legacy MMA, right?
Yes, sir, Legacy MMA.
Yeah, we're excited. We're here. I had to pull up to Roman's gym. He's the 559 welterweight champion. You may have seen him already. You got to look up his highlight reel on the 559 Fights YouTube page. We're excited. This is Luxic Vue, episode 31. I'm extremely excited, brother. Thank you again for making the time to, do this interview. I love everything that you're doing in and outside of the ring. We had a conversation, and I'll bring it up a little later, but I wanted to talk about, your upcoming fight, your amateur fight career, what it's like being the champion.
Yeah.
There's only one of two gyms out here in Madera, so I know there's, we talked a little bit about it. There's friendly competition amongst everybody in the MMA community. But I'm excited nonetheless. Got Roman again here. So tell me, Roman, a little bit about how you got your start in MMA.
Growing up, my stepdad, he's been like a coach. Even before I was ever training, he was coaching a lot of other fighters. He helped train LeVar Johnson, some dude named Trini. So when I was little, he was just growing around all the older guys, doing practices, jiu-jitsu. And he was just like a big help in all of it. He's a black belt actually now, so he helps me big time with the ground game.
Yeah, that's interesting to see, because I feel like a lot of kids, when they get their start early on, it's just something that comes instinctually, like to where it's something that doesn't fade as long as you're kind of sharpening your tools.
Yeah, after jiu-jitsu, I kind of went straight into wrestling, and then I kind of stirred away from jiu-jitsu. I fell in love with the whole wrestling thing. I was the WWE era.
Okay.
I thought I was going to be like
same.
that.
Yeah,
and they put a singlet on me. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I never actually wrestled, but I loved WWE growing up. I love the storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about mixed martial arts is, just like any entertainment space, is like you always want to root for the underdogs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or you want to
sure.
root for somebody up and coming. And I think that's why I continued to sponsor, athletes and across different things, but especially MMA, because it's like you're a part of a gym, right? But you're kind of like by yourself in a way when you're in the cage.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? It's not like anything else.
Nobody else. It's all you in there. And that's what I kind of like about it too. Just it's similar to wrestling. I grew up just being, it's all on you. You win, it's all on you. You lose, it's all on you.
Right.
So same thing with fighting. I kind of like it like that. Being a team player is kind of like, you have fingers to point, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you weren't guarding your man.
People don't like to take accountability, probably,
yeah,
right?
For sure. So when it's all on you, more pressure, but when you shine, it just feels that much better, you know what I mean?
I was going to ask you, did you ever do like other sports?
I did football growing up a lot, all through middle school and then a couple years through high school.
When would you say that you went into wrestling?
I started wrestling when I was like 10, 11.
Okay.
My father, my real dad, had got me into wrestling at the time. Yeah, I remember I was wearing a little Batista shirt. And he was like, you want to be like him? I was like, yeah. Thinking, you know what I mean?
Shoot.
WWE. Nah, hell no. But I ended up falling in love with it, and it was cool. I love wrestling, man.
That's awesome, man. So Madera, born and raised. Tell me a little bit about that. I used to work out here, like I was kind of telling you earlier, but you're a little younger than I am, because I'm 30 now, but at the same time, what I liked about you when we talked on the phone was I loved the tenacity of going after and asking, for example, like sponsorships. You were at the time looking, and over time, I wanted to put my finger on it, and that was one thing that I admired, because not a lot of people go out and make things happen. Some people go out there and just expect things to fall in their lap, none of this happened by falling in your lap. You know what I mean?
For sure. I feel like just me applying myself is, especially me being from Madera. I know it's not a big city. I'm not, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So applying myself and putting pressure like that is like, I know I have to do that. You know what I mean? I kind of realized like with fighting, I had to take my career in my own hands. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I don't got no fight manager, no big team around me. You know what I mean? It's all family. It's all friends, love. So I just got to go out and apply pressure.
That's awesome. And
mindset.
To kind of touch base on that, you talked about like family. We have some people here with us, your uncle, your girlfriend. That's awesome to see the support system, and then it's a family gym.
Yeah.
So, it's like what you're saying, like this is, the grassroots of like homegrown.
Yeah, it feels comfortable, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like work or anything like that. It's what I love to do. It's just, especially when everybody around you is supporting you, rooting for you, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard not to believe in yourself when everyone else believes in you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I I do my due diligence. I like to look at fights, prior fights, and I was actually there on your debut.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing I wanted to say is, as I was going through all of these, I heard the chants in the background when I was rewatching them. They're like, Roman, you know what I mean? Roman. And I was like, dang, you know, you drew a crowd. That's awesome.
Yeah, they show a lot of love at the fights, man. It's kind of a little bit surreal, especially the last one. I don't know if you were there in the March one.
In the crowds.
Yeah, I got a little crazy.
I heard them. They're like, security.
Yeah, I heard it during the fight. I'm like, me?
Was that a distraction?
I heard stop, and I was like, who stop? You know what I mean? I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
But, man, it was cool, though.
It was intense, and I think after that, like, obviously, you know, the organization, they had to kind of tighten down.
Yeah, kind of cracked down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean.
I feel like that's necessary, especially, like, with the, you know what I mean, energy like that. People are drinking, a lot of grown people. And just fights in general. I know everybody's getting rowdy watching people fight.
Yeah, it's that energy, man. It's contagious.
Like, I can do this
energy
too.
is contagious, and you know, we emit energy, and people feed off that. So people are feeding off that energy when they're seeing you in there.
Yeah, even me, just off like the fans and family, friends. I hear them all turn. It kind of makes me want to be more aggressive. That's kind of something I'm learning to do, though. Just you know what I mean, focus on, calm down in the cage.
The task at hand, right? The plan.
For sure. Stick to the game plan for sure.
I was gonna say, tell me a little bit about because I'm not a fighter, so going in, like, do you always have some sort of game plan when you go into every fight?
I feel like with every fight I get more and more of a game plan. I feel like for my first fight, it was kind of just like show what I know, you know what I mean? Show what I've been working on. And then the second one, not really too much. The third one, for sure, I know I didn't have a game plan. My last one, for sure, I had a game plan, though. I wanted to be patient. I wanted to be present, because I feel like a lot of my fights, I like to rush through it and let emotion kind of take over, and that's not really the best for fighting. So I'm learning as I go, you know what I mean? But for this one, for sure, I have a game plan, just like the last.
Man, and everything that you're saying, like, I can't stop thinking, like, how not only intelligent, but how much wisdom you actually have for being 22. And not that you're young or old, but at the same time, like, wisdom has no age. Yeah. So it comes in for people that are open to it. And it sounds like, I mean, based on our conversations as well, like, you reflect on a lot of things. And I don't think many people that are your age do that. And that's awesome to see, because it's gotten you, I feel like, to where you're at today and where you're continuing to go and where you will go. You know what I mean?
Thank you, bro. Yeah,
that's extreme ownership. And I mean, I don't know, do you do any kind of personal development or anything? I just have to ask.
Nah, nothing like that. I just feel like, you know what I mean, a lot of trial and error in my past. So, like, I just kind of learned from my past, you know what I mean? I've been through a lot. So I've been a lot of places I don't ever want to be again, a lot of moments in life. It just kind of makes me like, I got to make my next move my best move, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I feel like that's why I reflect so much, like thinking, like, did I make the last week, was that a good week for me? Did it, like, last month, was I doing the right stuff? You know what I mean? Like, I'm always doing that. You could even ask my girlfriend. I'm always thinking about the past. But kind of good and bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is, on top of that, you're not going to be able to get to the next level without being able to look at your past like that. You know, in anything, in MMA and business. And I say business a lot just because like 10 years I've been doing different things, and so I've taken many L's too. And it sucks when you're looking at the paper and you're like, dang, I did that. You know what I mean? Like that. And so the only way to triumph over that is through it, and it's by reflecting.
Sometimes you just got to face it, you know.
Exactly. And a lot of people, I would say, and I made mistakes too in my past when I was younger. I did a lot of dumb things, and being able to be like, hey, I don't know what was going on, but being said like, hey, I did that, and this is where I'm going. It says a lot, you know.
Yeah, especially taking responsibility in everything. I learned that, like, big time. You know what I mean? Even when it's not your fault, it's your fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a good mindset to have. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's like, hey, I take full responsibility on that. But I was going to ask you, so would you say that characteristic came from maybe family or even MMA? Because I know being on the mat, being able to say, hey, I messed up there, would you say that kind of correlated to that mindset of you?
I feel like MMA for sure is helping me grow a lot as a person, for sure. Like, even just looking back before I was fighting, it's making me open to a lot of things, like reflecting and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So yeah, I would say fighting has helped a lot with that. And just like family too. I know my dad's he's instilled a lot of morals into me, you know what I mean, that I live by to this day. So it's just like a little bit of both, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it would be, I would think, tough growing up with a father figure that knows MMA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My dad didn't know MMA, but he'd always be like, hey, I'm going to, you know, whoop that. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, all right, I seen what he did to my older brothers, you know, when they you know, wanted to bicker and stuff because they were older, you know, tough, and male testosterone. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, And so I have 3 brothers, and so when I seen the lessons amongst the other 2, sometimes, you know, I love them, we all love them, but it, you know, when we're kids, we do dumb things.
Yeah, for sure.
But seeing that, I'm like, hey, but I could, like I said, I can only imagine what that's like, and I'm sure that those morals and maybe even the etiquette, you know, came from that. I mean, especially if you guys are training people too, so you've probably seen him be a father figure to other
for sure.
friends, and family.
I feel like growing up around all that, it just instilled a lot to me. It was like my dream at first when I was little. I remember my 10th birthday, I had a MMA cage for the cake.
Okay.
So like I remember telling him all the time, like, I want to be a fighter, a UFC fighter, this and that. Like somewhere along the lines, you know what I mean, I lost it, but I feel like once you're down bad, you know what I mean? You start to go back to the roots, and I'm like, hey man, why don't I fight? Like this was my dream since I was little, you know what I mean? And like I really felt like I could do it, and just went from there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, let's talk about that actually, because I think that you mentioning the goal, the dream, when you are in a spot of maybe being broken and you're at the ground level, trying to chase something bigger than where you're at, bro, is scary. Yeah. And I'm speaking from experience in my own way. Just kind of touching base, like in 2016, I didn't know if I was going to continue with the brand at all, with my brand, Luxic Vue. Podcast wouldn't have been around or anything, and I was just like, I know God has a plan, and I know it's not this, but what do I need to do to get there? And I just remember being in debt, brother, like, you know what I'm saying, and being like, what am I going to do? Like, it's either I pay my rent or I try to do something with the brand related. And at that point, people would say, hey, don't do that anymore. Be safe, secure, and do all this. And I was about 23, 24. So, you know, and in no way where you're at. That's what I'm saying. Being able to fight on top of stuff like that's it takes, I would imagine, an emotional strain, because you have to tune in, you have to be focused for 3, 4, 5. I mean, what's your typical training camp?
About 2 months. Max will be 2 months.
2 months of focus, and I mean, I'm sure you limit all distractions when.
I try my best to. I've had one bad training camp, and I learned a lot from that, so no more of that.
What would you say that you learned? Because I've never had a training camp, so I just kind of want to know, like, what would you say?
I've kind of learned that it's a lot about discipline. You can't let, like you said, you can't let distractions get into you, your friends get to you. You can't do a lot of stuff that other people are doing, you know what I mean? Everybody's out there drinking, inviting you to do this, especially when you're a fighter.
And the champ.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It like, everybody wants to do stuff with you, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's not worth it right now, especially right now.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I'm barely starting to learn that, you know what I mean? It's like, the way I put it is like, it's not a game. And I remember my dad told me after my loss, I was just like, you know what I mean, breaking down, talking to him. And we were going through, I had a bad training camp. Like, we were arguing a lot. I was barely training, stuff like that. And he just told me, like, when you're training, you can be one of the best. He was like, but when your head's up your ass, you know what I mean? Like, this ain't football, this ain't baseball, this is a hurt sport, you know what I mean? People are out here trying to hurt you. So if you think this is a game, go ahead and think it's a game, but it's a hurt sport. And man, that stuck with me, because I was all concussed, and you know what I mean. But I remember, that's the whole conversation. That's all I remember, and it stuck with me though, even to today. Even like I tell my brother that and everything. Like, this is a hurt sport, you know what I mean.
Some of my coaches in Vitruvian, I've heard them say, like, you can't play fighting, and I'm like, dang. You can't. Yeah, like that's deep, you know. Yeah. You can't play fighting. So I was like, oh shoot, you know. And I heard him telling other people that were training, because I was only doing jiu-jitsu, but I'm like, dang.
Yeah, you're not lying. Yeah, he's not lying.
No, I agree with that. Well, again, I'm just excited overall, because speaking back on like the tenacity that you know, when you called me and you were like, hey, I'm looking for sponsors, brother. I was like, let's make sure it's a good fit, you know, let's talk. And I like talking to people, and I like connecting with them on a deeper level, other than the surface level, because in today's world, bro, there are so many things out there that are pushing different types of messages.
Yeah, you can never really know where their real intentions are at.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I just remember growing up, man, for me personally, I didn't always have somebody, a support system, and I've always stuck with the quote, like, be who you needed when you were younger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes it's kind of difficult being in the position, and I can only imagine in your situation being at this level now and still balancing friends, family, leisure, and all these other things. Like, it's like you said, there's a short-term sacrifice for where you're going.
Yeah.
You know, and I've always heard of these things like, hey, pay the price for the promise, right?
Yeah.
And because all that stuff is going to be there later. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's going to be there later.
Yeah, I've heard that so many times too. Even in high school, when I would be messing up, my dad would tell me, just leave it alone. It's going to be there when you're older. 10 years from now, all that, the alcohol is going to be there, you know what I mean? Friends are going to be there, partying is going to be there. And when I was younger, it never stuck with me, but now I really see it, you know what I mean? Just like I just say, growing, you know what I mean? I feel like I grew into like a little bit of maturity.
Absolutely. Well, when I talked to you on the phone, I thought you were older, and then when I asked you earlier, I was like, hey, how old are you? You're like 22. And I was like, oh shoot. Just by what you were saying, I would have guessed like 24 through 26, somewhere around there. But that wisdom, like I said, it has no age. People can have wisdom early on as well, like even younger, you know. I think that God works through people. And like we're all vessels, man, and we're all just here, you know. I posted something today. It was Galatians 5, and it was just talking about how like the main thing is to love your neighbor and to treat your neighbor like a friend, you know, regardless of beliefs, you know. I don't even want to get into religion and politics, but all that stuff, regardless, I respect people head on. Like that's just what I was taught, and I could sense that you're kind of like in those same values.
Yeah, I'm barely changing into this, and like just going back on religion, man. I feel like me fighting and stuff, it's hard not to have some, like, to believe in something bigger than yourself, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I grew up kind of church-based. My stepmom, she's Christian and whatnot, so I already know about a lot of stuff like that. And I just feel like me fighting and stuff, I pray constantly. You
That's
know what I mean?
awesome to hear,
and
man,
I can honestly feel like it's working, you know what I mean? A lot of doors, a lot of opportunities opening up, guidance, just sometimes you feel like you can't do it alone, you know what I mean? And that higher power low-key helps, you know what I mean?
I mean, I absolutely believe you, man. Speaking from my own experience, you and I, we can't, you know, like for the people that are watching this, we can't like force our revelations that God's opened our eyes to see onto them. We can only speak on it, and you don't know how awesome. Like I got goosebumps talking about it, but it's awesome hearing that from you because I didn't even ask you that on the phone. We didn't even talk about that. But I believe all of the same things that you're saying, so that's what makes this interview special, and any interview, you know, because I know that it's all God's timing. We didn't rush it. It happened, and that's where I like to be. I don't like to force things because even in the Bible it talks about not forcing it. Like the doors will open, doors will close. I pray all the time like, hey, God, close the doors that need to be shut right away and open the ones that I don't see. You know what I mean? And be there for me. But having that faith, man, talk to me a little bit about that, because in what you do and what you're doing outside of like work, and we can touch on work, but outside of that, fighting, how strong does your faith and your belief have to be to do something like what you're doing?
I feel like it has to be very high, you know what I mean? If you don't believe in yourself, there's no point in going out there, you know what I mean? And trying to convince everybody else to believe in you, you know what I mean? It's like,
I can understand that for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So my belief in just a higher power and in myself, you know what I mean? I honestly, like, when I'll pray too, like, I honestly ask God, like, you know what I mean? I want to get to this level, this, like kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. I want to get to like the limelight in a sense, so I can tell everybody about my story, so I can tell everybody how you kind of made an example of me, you know what I mean? And I could feel it low-key starting to happen.
It's scary, right?
It is kind of surreal when it starts happening. It's like, hold on, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
I've struggled in maybe you have, but I know a lot of other people in different areas, they struggle with what's called imposter syndrome, where you feel like, hey, maybe that shouldn't be me, maybe, you know, and I don't know if you've ever gone through that. I'm just speaking on it for me and for people listening, because what I've realized in doing these podcasts is like, you never know who's going to listen. I've been to training sessions, and it started out for fun, led to something where I feel like it's more purpose driven for me, because I'm being vulnerable on camera. You know, like we're talking, we're doing this, and people see that, but it's about the unspoken. There's so much unspoken in the world, and it's cool to hear, someone like yourself training. You believe in a higher power, you believe in God. You grew up Christian. It's crazy because I did too.
That's good.
And those values stuck with me, and that's kind of what you see today. And, I'm an embodiment of that, and I try to be. I'm not perfect, we're human.
Neither am I.
But even in the Bible, man, it talks about how a lot of God's, disciples, some of them were murderers. Some of them, committed adultery. Some of them stole from people, multiple people. But it's not about where you're at. God can use anybody. literally anybody. And I really feel like he's using you, and I'm glad to hear that you're, you know, a prayer warrior at that.
Yeah, thank you,
you know, keep up that faith and keep empowering other people, man, because that's, I feel like, what we're here to do aside from our own accomplishments and accolades.
Yeah.
I love it though that you see that early on.
Yeah,
You're not letting it get to your head.
Kind of like how you said you can't push religion on anybody, but I just want to tell everybody like my story, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like my own experience.
Because it's your truth.
Yeah, it's the truth, and it's just like, you don't have to believe me, but this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I have prayed for something to happen, and then not even like 5 minutes it happened, and I don't even know how to react. I'll call my mom, my stepmom right away, like, you won't believe, because you know what I mean? She's all into church big time, so I'll call her right away, because I know she gets excited about that stuff too. And it's just like, yeah, within this last year, man, I could just feel God like helping me out a lot, you know what I mean, opening a lot of doors.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to have that, like you said, that support system that you have, because if you have family that's praying for you too, overall, like regardless, I know you got, you know, you were a champ before you got the belt, and just like, you know, everybody that's been on the podcast, it's crazy because little by little that I've been doing this, you know, you're the welterweight champ. I wanted to dedicate a segment and call it Champs Corner because I didn't anticipate having champions on my podcast. It just kind of happened. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to say that I don't believe in people or anything. It's just, like you said, things just happen, and it's all divine, man. It's all divine, and things will continue to happen that way. But keep doing that good thing, man. Keep spreading that message.
Thank you.
And so, man, you got me all pumped up, man. We can, you know, we're having our own church session and stuff like that. My grandfather would be super happy, and I'm sure your family, you know,
I know
would be too, to speak on that. Right, you know, because most people don't speak on that because they're scared. You know. And you know, and I'm not trying to make this preaching, but it's like, God, I mean, there were people that denied him in front of people. Like, I don't believe in God. You know?
And I feel like that's like the most embarrassing and selfish thing to do, especially like how you're going to pray alone and then in front of everybody kind of deny things, you know what I mean? I don't like stuff like that.
I mean, man, it's cool to see, like I said, with your spotlight, everything that you got going on, that you're acknowledging him, you're doing everything through him, and I think that's going to take you. There's not going to be something that's going to stand in your way, bro. Like, it's just how it happens. You know what I'm saying? You've seen it work for yourself. So let's talk. I mean, shoot, 559 champ. You 4 fights. You did 89, right? 90, 92.
Yeah, I think that was 92 in November.
And 95.
Yeah, 95 was the last
Man,
one.
I had to rewatch your fights again, like I said, and the first round submission on your second fight.
Second fight.
Crazy. And that's when I was like, this guy has mad jiu-jitsu skills. That's awesome to see. You know what I mean? It was cool. Like, armbar was fluid.
Thank you.
Man, what was that like?
It was cool. I honestly didn't think it was gonna be there that easy. I felt like I was kind of like a little bit showing what I was gonna do, but it was there, so I just went for it. You know what I mean? It kind of happened faster than I thought, but it was a good fight. In and out, those are the best ones.
Yeah, you said you had a game plan going into that one, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Did you know it was gonna be first round?
No, for sure.
No,
not. For sure not. No. That was like a last minute opponent too. I had 2 opponents back out that fight, so I was kind of like the last.
Had him scared, man.
Yeah, man. The week before, man, my head was just everywhere. You know what I mean? And then I had to go up a weight class for that fight. Also, it was I think at 180s, so I was like 5 pounds underweight. Were you
176 on that one or something like that?
I was like 175.
Okay. Because I was like,
we're fighting at 180s.
I was like, am I wrong or is welterweight? You know, like I was trying to, but I heard it. Okay.
So I just ate hella the day before. I think I was eating at weigh-ins, you know what I mean? Just trying to like make up for the little bit.
Well, question, I never asked this, but like, you know, I watch other fight podcasts and stuff like that, and they're like, so what do you normally walk around at? Like, is it? Man,
usually I walk around, right now I'm kind of went up to bulking a little bit. Right now at the moment I'm like 180, but usually I'll walk around like at 75, 76.
Okay, I mean even 180s.
Yeah, but just me like going around meeting different people in my weights. There's some people cutting down from 190s, you know what I mean? 185s, like. Yeah.
Why is that?
I guess just for like the strength factor, being bigger is more confidence wise, but for me, especially as amateurs, we're weighing in the same day, fighting the same day. I just want to be healthy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Don't be all depleted, right?
Yeah, depleted. You know what I mean? If you have 24 hours, that's a different story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But once you get the 24 hours to do that, then maybe I'll cut down a little bit more.
I've heard that comes from like the wrestling background.
Yeah, for sure. I remember in high school, I used to cut crazy weight, and I was
really.
I started cutting weight when I was like 13. Yeah, I was like,
dang.
what was I, 95s, cutting down to 89 pounds. I got a little brother right now. He's 75 pounds, cutting down to 70s. He's actually at a state tournament right now in Southern Arena. He's only 11 years old.
What's his name?
Andrew Garza.
Shout out Andrew Garza.
Shout out Andrew. Good luck today, boy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, but man, just cutting weight, I've been doing it for a long time, so I'm kind of at the point where I'm just like, if I don't have to do too much, I don't really want to, you know what I mean?
That makes sense for the same day thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe if once I get 24 hours, maybe I'll think about 55s or something like that, because I've been like cross-training here and there, and I'll go down south, and I'll go train or whatnot, and I got coaches telling me like, oh, you're a 55er at heart, this and that.
Oh, really?
You'll go far at 55, just like looking at my body and this and that. I was like, no, I don't know.
You're like, I don't want to cut that weight.
Yeah, it's easy to say for yourself, but I don't want to do it. Dang. But I mean, we'll see how it goes, you know what I mean?
So what goes into cutting weight for a lot of the people? Because a lot of the people listening, I mean, I've had all kinds of different people on, not more so, some may not understand MMA, but what does it mean to like cut weight? What does that entail?
I feel like it would just have to be a lot of the dieting, what you intake for sure. You know what I mean? It'd probably be a lot of water, so you could just sweat out all the water weight. Nothing too heavy, no big meals, no processed foods. Really.
Sounds like you're constantly eating at a deficit then.
Yeah, in a way, especially towards the last week. It's like you're cutting your meals down to maybe 2 meals a day, one meal and a couple snacks throughout the day. And then like the last 2 days, it's probably just all snacking and water, you know what I mean? And I remember for wrestling, the last day, no water, no nothing. Like I would just be dehydrated, spitting in a water bottle and all types of stuff.
That reminds me of like when you're sick and you can't drink water. You know, and you can't keep anything down.
Oh, I used to hate it, bro.
Would you say that you feel like I would feel delirious? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, in a way. I remember being in middle school, and some of the teachers knew I was a big time wrestler and whatnot, and they would just let me sleep in class because they saw it in me. Like,
no way.
Yeah, Mr. Houghton. He probably don't even.
Shout out Mr. Houghton.
Yeah, he probably don't even remember me, but he just like looked at me and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I told him I haven't ate since yesterday. Like I'm going through it. You know what I mean? I haven't even drank no water, no nothing. You got weigh-ins today. He was like, just put your head down. You know what I mean? Like I had teachers like that.
It's almost conserve your energy.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. It was like in a way they were concerned for me. You know what I mean?
Dang.
Little kid cutting weight. Now that I look back at it, I'm like, man, but it is what it is, and it instilled a lot of morals in me too. You know?
Yeah. The discipline, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. The discipline.
13?
Yeah.
I cut no meals at 13, bro. I was overweight.
Yeah.
You know that I had double meals.
Yeah.
It's crazy stuff. But that just goes to show you're no stranger to discipline. You're no stranger to a plan.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's gotten you to where you're at today. And like I said, many times it's going to take you to where you're going. And it's cool to see because what I've noticed across all my friends, people that are successful in their own endeavors, they have that trait. And the reason, aside from like values and everything, of bringing people on the podcast is I like to kind of dig deep and understand where you're, like what makes you tick in a good way. Like where did you learn that? Because it's not all the time that's just like, everybody's just not disciplined. It's something that it was instilled, and there's something that's keeping you disciplined as well. What would you say that is for you, aside from the championship? Because like I said, this is your 4th fight. You won the title. You were doing training before then. You competed.
Yeah.
What got you to want to do MMA, like towards that downside?
Towards like
You said that there was a point in time where you were like at a low, and then you knew you had that dream. But what drove you to like take action?
Man, I just wanted to change my situation. You know what I mean? I was just remember where I was at, all the things I was going through, and I was like, "There's no way I went through all this and for nothing." You know what I mean? All this pain, all this sacrifice. Like I feel like my life's just been like a roller coaster, up and down, up and down. I have high points, low points. So I'm just like, there's no way this is all for nothing. You know what I mean? I had to do something, and I knew I had to start somewhere. So I just started chipping away at it, and I'm glad that I finally, like, you know what I mean, got to that point, because it was for a while I was just down and out. I thought I was never gonna compete again. I used to look back at my wrestling days and just like kind of get sad, cry sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I never thought I was gonna compete again.
What happened, if you don't mind me asking? Like during that point, like for you, what was?
I started getting in a lot of trouble in high school, man. Like when I was like 16, for the first time, I went to juvenile hall. I was on probation all throughout high. I barely got off probation in September of this last year. When I was 17, went back to juvenile hall. I was on the run constantly through high school. Yeah, like my senior year, I didn't get to wrestle. I didn't get to play football. And like I had college scouts. I had like even the athletic director. I remember we had a meeting one time. She was crying, showed me her screen. Like I had like offers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they couldn't get through to me. You know what I mean? I had the whole popularity, ego. I just had it all in high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I kind of like peaked in high school for no reason. And I just let it all get to my head, you know what I mean? And I just remember I went on the run my senior year. I was running from a lot of problems. Boom, back to juvenile hall, got out, house arrest. Boom, went on the run again. I graduated on house arrest, but not even from the original school that I was at. I was just like, I would have coaches try to reach out to me, like even try to get me to go to a city, you know what I mean? Like, bro, you can still do it, you know what I mean?
Trying to encourage you.
Yeah. And even me back then, I just thought like, no, I'm already done. Like, it's bad, all types of things. I had got locked up again, just fresh out of turned 18, went to county for a couple months, got out. I was out for like a month, went back for like 8 months. Yeah, so I've like lost a lot of time, you know what I mean?
You've definitely been through a lot.
Yeah, and then when I got out, I was like on gang tasks, gang terms, stipulations, all types of like, I was on a tightrope. And if I would have made the wrong move, I think they were trying to give me like 5 years. So that like the deal I signed just to get out was like all types of stipulations. And
that's a blessing though,
yeah,
like,
man.
you know, looking back, man, I mean, it could have been a lot worse. I know that at the time it was just like, God, but you know what? Like you said, like what's going on, and no wonder. Like when we talked on the phone, man. Like I said, it felt like you came from somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've been there in my own way. But we all have, and I think being able to speak on that is powerful because there are a lot of people that let that weigh them down as a person.
It's something I definitely don't want to like shy away from or hide. You know what I mean? Like I'm open. Like I want to tell people like. Even the people that are probably in jail right now, probation, all types of stuff, like it's possible to get off that. I remember getting harassed constantly in the town, trying to like little 10-day flashes for wearing colors and stuff like that.
No way.
Yeah, it was bad. It used to be real bad, and I remember I saw no light at the end of the tunnel. I thought it was bad. I felt bad for myself. You know what I mean? Like, but you just can't have that mindset. You know what I mean? You fix one problem, you go on to the next problem, and so on and so forth, you know what I mean?
You have to be attack the problem and be a problem solver.
Yeah,
right?
You can't run from it. And I've learned that like just recently, you know what I mean?
I was gonna say, would you say that you had to be like more, some can call it optimistic or positive, or what like at that time, would you say that you were praying more, or what happened? Like what?
Yeah, I was praying a lot, but I think, I forgot who said it, but it was a quote, and it was basically saying life is easier when you have goals, because you have something to look forward to, you know what I mean? Small goals and then a big goal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause back then, I used to just try to live it up in the day and not think about tomorrow, and like
live in the moment.
Yeah, living in the moment, and it was just crazy. I used to spend all my money just on turning up for the week and all types of crazy stuff, and it's just like if you don't plan for the future, you're not gonna have no future, you know what I mean? And it's just something I really learned. Like
that's a gem right there.
Yeah, I really want to have a future nowadays, you know what I mean? So I remember back then I used to think about the future and it used to scare me. Like I used to not see myself living past a certain age sometimes. And now I think about the future and I get excited. I'm like, man, sky's the limit now, you know what I mean? And it's crazy how it just flips, you know what I mean? But
that's awesome. It just sounds like God planted the vision in you. You know, you've had it, man. You know, he loves all of us, and aside from things that happen, because there are things that happened to me too recently within the last couple of years that I didn't speak on, and I plan on it, you know, eventually. Because when you do, it will help other people that are going through that same thing, and it's kind of, I mean, it's like that in anything in life. You know, when you're able to speak your own truth and share and kind of help guide people out of those situations, because they don't have to maybe go down that same path. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because if you already know better, it's kind of selfish of you not to tell the next person. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is what I went through. This is my experiences. That's why, like, even with my little siblings, I have so many siblings. You know what I mean? So I try to tell them. I'm just kind of open with them, brutally honest in a way. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna hear and see stuff like that eventually at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So if I can tell them, then they can learn one or two things here and there. Like, you know what I mean? Why not?
How many siblings do you have?
I can't even count off because I was in foster care as a kid, so my stepdad is the black belt in jiu-jitsu. So I have my dad's side of the family, my mom's side of the family, and then I have my foster family, which are like my parents too. Family, I look at them just like
it's all family. Yeah.
So I think I have 8 brothers all together, and 4 sisters all together.
That's good, man. I would imagine, you know, if you guys all get together, holidays, that's always the best. I'm a family person.
It's kind of like dividing my time everywhere, making sure I'm spending time with each and every family, you know what I mean? But they understand. For the most part, they understand.
Where do you fall in line, like, out of everybody? Like, age-wise?
For my step-parents, I'm the youngest. I'm the baby for the foster family. For my dad's side of the family, I'm the oldest, so I had to play that role. And then for my mom's side of the family, I'm the oldest also.
I would have never been able to tell you were the youngest in the situation because, like, you know, you're, again, mature, mature, and that's awesome to see. Man, it's been awesome having you on, being able to share your story, share where you're at. So a couple things. I want to talk about the upcoming fight.
Yes,
June 24th.
Yes, sir. 3 more
defending
weeks.
Defending the title. So are you excited for that? You're in training right now.
Yeah,
you're doing everything necessary.
Real excited. I feel like this is like one of the best training camps I've had, honestly. Like, I mean, like I said, I've realized through all these training camps, it's not a game. You know what I mean? You have to get prepared for what's coming to hand, and especially just having this opportunity, having a target on my back. You know what I mean? It motivates me. You know what I mean? I got certain people in my DMs, like random fighters. You know what I mean? Texting me crazy stuff, commenting on my stuff, crazy stuff. It's like, but you should have never did that, because now I'm 3 times motivated. Yeah. You know what I mean? But
I mean, to be doing stuff like that. Number one, like whenever I get any sideways comments online, I'm just like, okay. Like I try to assess it really quick.
Yeah.
Like where are you really at in your life?
Yeah.
To really send me that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
and then just for someone to put that energy out, it's like
exactly.
Are you not happy with yourself or something like that? But I'll never.
It's deeper on a psychological level.
It's deeper, but I'll never respond. I'll like it. You know what I mean? And so when it's stuff like that, and I know they're fighters and things like that, it just motivates me more. It's like, bro, you just added fuel to my fire. Thank you. You feel me? Like,
yeah, I'm glad that you're able to be the bigger person.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
in this world, bro, there's so much people that are just petty about things.
Yeah, it's not even about that. You know what I mean? I know I can fight. I know I can. I can hold my own. It's like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Nothing really intimidates me nowadays. You know
exactly.
What I mean? For sure.
That's awesome to hear. So June 24th, who's your opponent?
His name's Jared Sutherland.
Awesome. Being a sponsor for the 559 Fights, it's been crazy. We were talking about it. I was at your debut, and I'm just like, dang, I've been at so many fights.
Yeah.
And just seeing how many warriors out there from all over the state coming out from like out of the woodwork to come out here and compete.
Yeah, for sure.
It's awesome to see what Jeremy's got going on with the 559 Fights organization. We're on the road to 100. This is going to be 98.
98,
right?
Yeah, we're getting there, huh?
Yeah. I want to say, right?
I think it's 98.
98?
Yeah, 98.
Yeah, so shoot, we're on our way there. I remember you made your debut in 89.
89, yeah.
And they're just blowing through all of these events,
almost every month. It's crazy.
Yeah. How often do you try to compete? Or do you want to compete?
Well, after this fight in June, I'm going to fight in August for another title for VFS, Valley Fight Series.
Okay.
So just to kind of branch out a little bit more, you get more exposure. But, I mean, who knows? Hopefully, if this fight goes good, I might be back in there July. Who knows? You know what I mean?
I noticed you like to remain active. I mean, if you look at all these fights.
If it's an in-and-out fight and I'm in and out, there's no point in me wasting time. I'm already fresh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just went through a training camp. I might as well just get right back in there.
Right.
But I like to listen to my coaches, you know what I mean? My family, hear everybody's opinion and what they think, you know what I mean? But I'm trying to stay active as much as possible, you know what I mean? I want to have a really good year. I want to go undefeated this year, make up for, you know what I mean, little lessons that I learned and stuff. And I just want to show everybody, like, I'm constantly growing. Everybody's trying to put me in a box as a fighter, but they don't know me personally, and they don't know me as a fighter for sure. And I want to prove that, you know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Kind of motivates me a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, I would think, especially if people are reaching out and you're just like, in life, a lot of people will try to put people in boxes, and that's to make the person that's doing that feel better about themselves.
Oh, I know where he stands. I know what type of person he is. It's like, no, bro, you really don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Any closing thoughts? I mean, it's been a pleasure having you on, man.
Thank you.
Honestly, I could talk all day. We can do this all day. I'm glad you're sharing the lessons with people that will be tuning into this, because I think that they can learn from that. And that's my main goal, is just to share, the story, help tell the story about your up and coming fight, and just doing it for everybody, all around, camaraderie, you know what I mean? But any last things, any shout outs you want to give?
Just thank you to everybody who supports me, you know what I mean, follows my dream and my journey. Shout out to all my sponsors, No Limit, Fruit Shack, Valley's Barbershop, Tacos de Guanajuato. Man, I got so many sponsors, so many supporters here in town, local sponsors. Shout out to Luxic Vue, you know what I mean?
Thanks,
one of my
brother.
biggest
Appreciate
sponsors. Just thank you for the journey, and you guys want to see fireworks June 24th, I promise to put on the show. I mean, I have yet to disappoint.
Let's go. Let's go. So really quick, I want to talk about the raffle that you're going to be doing for this upcoming fight. You told me that we're going to be giving away 2 tickets.
Yeah, 2 tickets and a shirt. I'm going to be posting it on my Instagram. You can follow me at LULACE00. I'm going to be doing a raffle for basically anybody who's trying to get a free fight shirt and 2 tickets to the fight. All you have to do is follow all my sponsors and just comment done. But I'll keep all that updated on my Instagram. The shirt should be done by the 13th.
Okay.
So within a week, I'll have all that stuff posted.
So I'll link all of this in the description. We'll talk more about the giveaway. Yes, what I want to do, we didn't discuss this, but I just felt compelled to do it. So what we can do is let's do 2 VIP tickets. Okay. I have a table at the 559 Fights. Okay, I'll upgrade them.
Yeah.
It's $100 value. It's right there, front row. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's big.
So 2 tickets, VIP with us. You'll get a shirt. It'll be awesome. I'm excited for this, man.
Appreciate that.
Excited. So if you want general admission, VIP front row, contact us. We'll get you linked up. Enter the giveaway. Nonetheless, shout out to your facility, your gym.
Sir. Shout out to Sandoval Legacy MMA.
Absolutely.
Madera, California.
Homegrown.
Yes, sir. Born and raised.
Stay tuned. June 24th. Big things are coming for Roman Ace Guillen. That's it, everybody. Without further ado, the champ. Always remember, doubt kills. Embrace now, and live your legacy.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.